Is wind shear different than turbulence?
Wind shear, turbulence can be caused by wind shear.
What is wind shear?
Wind shear, with the wind shears. Okay, so like our building here, right? You see these two buildings right here. These three buildings you have here, and the wind blows one direction, right, coming off the ocean, right? It goes through the buildings, and guess what? It changes direction, like crazy. It goes this way, this way, this way because of obstacles. So wind shear is dangerous because, like, how do I explain it? Okay, say you're flying straight, right, and you have a headwind, a strong headwind. And when you have a headwind, you have a lot more lift. So you set your power and your attitude, your configuration of your airplane for that wind. In a split second, the wind goes from a headwind to a tailwind. All of a sudden, what happens? You have wind blowing from the front of the airplane, going across the wings from the front, the way it's supposed to, and then all of a sudden it changes to the back. Because what happens? You lose lift. It happens. It's happened to me once. I'm flying, putting along, cruising, and on autopilot, and all of a sudden I look, and I see my airspeed from like 150 knots just drop, like, you know that little ticker?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? And I get in my headset, airspeed, airspeed, and I don't do anything different. I'm just like, what the heck is going on? There was wind shear in midair. You know, I had to disconnect the autopilot and put the nose down, and there's nothing I can do because the wind just changed. I have to adjust the airplane to keep the lift. You know, so wind shear is just, and when you have a lot of wind shear, like, okay, so if a plane's flying this way and then the wind's blowing it from this way, right? So it's crabbing, right? It's crabbing this way. So your plane is set to fly with the wind this way. Imagine if the wind just changes this way in a split second. All of a sudden, your plane is configured this way. It's just going to go this way.
Yeah.
And the pilots have to like adjust, right? And sometimes it happens so fast, especially near the ground. Why? Because when you get near the ground, there's all this terrain, these obstacles, buildings, trees, whatever, right? You're getting close to the ground. So the wind could change directions, right? And you have to adjust, you have to compensate. Sometimes you can't compensate fast enough, especially if it changes direction like in a split second. It's a very famous thing that caused a crash. It's a Delta 1901 or 191 back in the 80s in Dallas. It's just coming into land, and all of a sudden the wind changed and it freaking, plane lost lift, crashed because of wind shear.
So let me just make sure I understand. Wind shear can cause turbulence, but not all turbulence is from wind shear.
Correct.
Got it.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.